The Philippines may be considered a country that is very deeply ingrained with their colonial mentality, especially in today's youth. It is reflected in our country's pop culture, media, and lifestyle, influenced by the ideologies of our colonizers. Instead of the country that is deeply rooted in their patriotic pride, their sense of identity, and their traditionalism, the nation's people seems to be ashamed of its flaws and inability to cope with other more developed countries. Filipino pride and resilience is what led the country to its independence. Yet some Filipinos prefer to shed these Filipino traits in favor of Western ideals. Essentially, Philippine culture is an amalgamation of different cultures, most notably Spanish, American, Japanese, and Chinese, although China was not a colonizer. The Chinese population in the Philippines was and still is very large. Among the colonizers of the Philippines, Spain's reign lasted the longest, and it is to no surprise that Spain's influence on the Philippine culture was among the strongest, if not the strongest. One of the telltale signs of the strength of Spanish influence over the Philippines is the fact that many words in the Spanish language are integrated into Filipino dialects. Some prime examples of which are Diyos, Eskwela, Guapo, Kalye, Kabayo, Kwento, Karne, Pamilya, Sapatos, and Bintana. Another strong influence Spain has over the Philippines is undoubtedly Catholicism. The Philippines is also the only predominantly Christian country in Asia. The power of the church is notable due to its influence in Philippine law. It is because of Christian beliefs that divorce and abortion is illegal. Catholic schools are also a product of Spain, and today it is these Catholic institutions such as DLSU, Ateneo, and UST that are among the most prestigious and best schools in the country. Without a doubt, many Filipinos possess last names of Spanish origin, such as Cruz, Garcia, Legazpi, and Flores. Many Filipinos also have Spanish first names such as Juan, Miguel, Carlos, Rafael, etc. Furthermore, the Philippines was also named after King Philip, the King of Spain at the time of the discovery of the Philippine Islands. Manila was also named and selected as the capital city of the Philippines by the Spanish. The most notable aspect of American culture in the Philippines is the concept of freedom. This includes religious freedom, democracy, and even free education. It is thanks to religious freedom that non-Catholic churches and beliefs came to be in the Philippines. Catholicism was once the national religion under Spain, and Filipinos were left with no choice at that time. Public schools were America's contribution to education in the Philippines. While Catholic schools were the best the country had to offer, they were also exclusive to the rich. Like the Spanish, many English words were integrated into the Filipino dialects, such as ballpen as ballpen, interview as interview, computer as computer. Being the colonizer that spent the least time ruling the Philippines, it is also no surprise that Japan's cultural influence over the Philippines is especially minimal compared to Spain, America, and even China. The primary forms of Japanese influence in the Philippines are technology and media, such as karaoke, videoke, cameras, and film. What does it mean to be a Filipino? There is a need for cultural change among Filipinos, and this process requires the Filipino consciousness to reject the admission of colonial mentality into the Filipino being. Filipinos must re-examine their mindset and rekindle their dignity for being Filipinos. Despite the permanent scars of colonialism in Philippine history, it provides a privilege to our culture. For a culture which is a mix of many other cultures is as interesting as a new species bred from horse and zebra. We have learned enough after centuries of colonization. It is time we stood on our own feet. Let us patronize and create our own culture. Poems, songs, and dances that retell the stories of the Philippines' oppression and its journey to freedom. Is that not something worth telling and listening to? Does that not make you more than proud to be a Filipino?